Good afternoon, peace and blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. And as the title says, I just want to get into the commentary right quick. Shout out to Brother Muse. He sent me a couple videos. Shout out to Anton Daniels and the Millionaire Morning Show. If you get a chance, go over there, check out his new videos that he did yesterday. And for reference. But yeah, shout out to Brother Muse for sending me those videos. And basically what they were about were Trump's tariffs on different uh countries and also the stock market crashing. Right about now, everybody tripping out about, which is actually an opportunity from my vantage point, and I want to learn more about. I'm not involved in the stock market, but Anton Daniels, I would strongly suggest to go over there and get more clarity on how that works. But as far as the tariffs, it's crazy because when people are out here crashing out talking about Trump's tariffs are going to bankrupt the country and we going to, we ain't gonna have no trade. We gonna have enemies all across the world and all that. This is basically what's happening with the tariffs. They're putting tax on so basically imported and exported goods that come from other places. When we send our goods to other places, say for China, for example, they put so much tax on that, maybe 33%, but we only put 2% on what they send here, taxes. So what he's saying is, hey, we're going to do reciprocal tariffs. So if you tax our exports and imports, we're going to tax yours the same amount. And what that does is it increases our wealth because, hey, you tax us 33%, we're going to tax you or tariff you 33%. Now, what if it's unequal, if they doing 30% and we only doing 2%, that create more jobs in China or whatever, or Canada or whatever country that is taxing or putting more tariffs on us. So it's reciprocal. And hey, you eliminate the tariff altogether, which a lot of countries are doing. They getting on board with the United States. I've seen um, certain countries in Africa and Asia that have complied. Even um, Vietnam once was an enemy. They eliminated tariffs with the United States immediately. So it's a excellent thing. But the interesting part of that is that everything that Trump is doing with these tariffs, the Democrat leadership were talking about that back in the 90s. And on the Millionaire Morning Show with Anton Daniels, he has a clip of Nancy Pelosi, which is one of the top Democrats in the country, saying the exact same thing in 1996 that we needed to do with China. We needed to add reciprocal tariffs because they're getting over basically on the United States. They created 10 million jobs for Chinese people when we were only creating 100,000. So those jobs need to be here in America. But it's interesting that they're going against Trump when he's saying the same exact thing that the Democrats, not only Nancy Pelosi, but they have clips of Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Chuck Schumer. All the Democrats were singing the same song that Trump is singing now. You know why? Because they're compromised. That's the only reason that they're not on board with the tariffs that Trump is implementing now. So he has to go in and flip this thing on his head because it's upside down. So although it may sting a little bit right now in the beginning, we're thinking long term, how is this going to affect the country long term? And I think the way that he's moving, it's not going to take a long time to start to see the benefits. I would give it about a year and a half to 2 years before we start to see more job, more jobs, better pay. We're going to start to see food prices, energy prices, gas prices go down. We're going to be forced to be in a predicament where we have to create products here in America instead of outsourcing, which creates more jobs, more of a competitive atmosphere for the country. So it's going to sting a little bit, maybe about a year or so. And that also relates to the stock market. Now, the stock market is crashing, people losing their money, and it's going to be, alarming. I don't advocate for anybody, but when that happens, just like with COVID, what smart people did, and which I'm about to go and try to learn more about this, is they went in and they bought more while the cost was down, because it's going to shoot back up very fast. So if you buy, for example, Tesla right now, everybody talk about Tesla down, but Tesla, if you're gonna, I would think would be a safe, which I'm probably gonna do. I'm not trying to give nobody no advice, because you can't get nobody financial advice. But what I'm telling you, what I would do is invest in a sure bet like Tesla. If you got an extra couple, extra dollar or two, I would say, a safe bet, 500 to 1,000. You know what I'm saying? And invest in Tesla right now while the stocks are down. And then in a year or two, when they're going to fly through the roof, because not only are they going to be making these cars, they're going to be making these robots. You know what I'm saying? And all these different products going to skyrocket with Teslas. It's just a no-brainer. Just a little bit that I've been researching and hearing from brothers like Anton Daniels over there, this is the time to buy. You know what I'm saying? And get your feet wet with it. And I'm gonna try to do that myself, because 2 years from now, you might sacrifice a couple dollars. But this when millionaires were born, when the stocks were down. So, like Trump said, this was by design. So he's flipping this thing on his head. It's going to sting for a little bit, but at the end of the day, the opportunity for people to really benefit financially is astronomical, you know. But yeah, man, I didn't want to stay too far, man. Shout out once again to Brother Muse. That's my take on what's going on. It's crazy to see um, those Democrats, and Anton Daniels said that he's gonna roll it out. He had Nancy Pelosi, and then he gonna have Barack Obama, and then he gonna have Joe Biden and all them back in the 90s, saying the same exact thing that Donald Trump is saying as far as tariffs as it relates to different countries to build wealth and more jobs for America. You know what I'm saying? But they flipped on that because, like with Doge, you know what I'm saying? They finding out the corruption. Y'all been stealing, so y'all not in favor of it no more. But when the Democrats actually had some sense, they were saying the exact same thing, sounding exact, using the same uh verbiage, using the same talking points that Trump is now, because Trump is thinking logically and he's not compromised by the corruption. That's the only reason they saying that. But thank you. Once again, it's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.